welcome to class. Thanks for joining me. This particular class is going to be focused on building leg strength. Obviously, having strong legs, super important for any kind of physical movement, exercise we do, whether it be running, hiking, biking, swimming, and even if you're not exercising, just walking around your house, doing your daily chores, your daily routine. So be focused largely on two of the largest muscles in the body, the quads and the hamstrings, building strength up in there. But also working also on the calf muscles, calves and Achilles tendons, strengthening them so that overall the legs are strong and they can help support you, make your life, your exercise routine a little bit easier. Unfortunately, especially with the quads, it's pretty easy to build muscle up to strengthen that area, which is why that's going to probably be the primary focus, not the whole thing. But before we begin to strengthen, we need to stretch. We need to warm up the muscles, not just go right into these strengthening poses cold, so to speak. We want the muscles a little warm, a little stretched out. So we're going to take the first opening poses, opening minutes of this class to stretch out and warm up the muscles. Lock is good for a couple of poses. Won't need it right away. Shouldn't need any other props for this particular class. Start laying on the back, and we're going to begin this with an easy hamstring stretch. So lay down. You can start with both knees bent, feet flat on the mat to start with. And then take the right knee into the chest just for a moment. Give it a little hug in. Just give it a little hug, just kind of test it out. Maybe really small little circle the knee and hip around just to begin to warm. We'll get a little bit into the hips too. Hips aren't really leg strength, but obviously lower body, very, close. Get into the glutes a little bit too. As all of that area kind of attaches, runs into, let's say the quads, hamstrings, everything kind of works as a unit, let's say. All right, begin to straighten the right leg. All right, take your time again, especially if you're doing this like early in the morning when you haven't had time to properly warm up, loosen everything up, and it's cold in the morning. The muscles could be a little stiff, a little resistant. So you don't want to go too deep into this hamstring stretch. We'll likely repeat this same stretch at the very end of class and just kind of see the difference, if or not. But take it a little easy right now. Keep the knee a little bent. Maybe hold on behind the thigh, or you could walk the hands up a little closer towards the ankle and just rock that leg to and from, bringing it towards the body and then away a little bit. Just this little coaxing, gentle rocking motion to introduce a little stretch, a little opening in that hamstring. One more breath. All right, you're going to rebend the right knee and bring the foot down to the ground and then plug the left knee in. And again, just kind of hug it in a little close. And if it sounds good, maybe just spin it around to the side and the other way, just for a breath. And then begin to unfold it a little at a time. Take as much time as you need, and maybe your hamstring stretch is going to look like this with the knee bent. Maybe it's going to be a little straighter. Maybe it's going to be pretty straight, but we never lock the knee out. Even if the leg is super straight, you don't want to hyperextend. Protect the knee in all of these poses. And maybe walk the hands up a little higher or keep them behind the thigh if that feels better. And just a couple more breaths here, just this real easy, pulling it in and back, gently moving it. One more breath. All right, from here, hug both knees into the chest. Hold on, tops of the shins, and then just rock a little right, left, side to side. From here, you're going to come all the way up. And you're going to have a seat and straighten the legs long. We're going to reach the arms long up to the sky by the ears, lengthen. And then slowly keep the back flat. Try to keep the arms by the ears. Open the chest. Gaze down towards the toes. And then bring the hands to the mat. That could be on blocks. And keep lengthening the spine here. So a seated forward fold. Your hamstrings feel real tight here. It's early. Bend the knees a little. Float the backs of the knees up off the mat. We're not going to hold this super long. Begin to lengthen the spine. Begin that length at the very low part of the back, all the way up the spine, keeping the chest open, not rounding the spine here. So nice, another nice deep stretch for the hamstrings. Those take time to warm up and expand, so we'll take another hamstring stretch in a moment right after this one. One more breath. All right, slowly walk the hands in. Sweep the legs to one side. And from here, come on to all fours, hands and knees. Step the right foot in front of you. Keep the hands down. You could use blocks here. You're going to start to pull the hips back. And as you do, you're going to straighten the right leg. Kind of wiggle the heel forward. So you're pressing into the heel, flexing the toes back towards the face, and maybe start to fold over that leg. So this is half splits pose. And it's a deeper, probably hamstring stretch. So again, you want to be really mindful not to lock that knee up, bend it more if you need. If you're struggling to reach the mat, having a yoga block under each hand can be really helpful here. Keep the hips facing forward though. Don't let them shift, twist to the side. Take another breath here, folding over the leg. And then you're going to lift the chest part way. You're going to take a little half turn to your right. Step the left hand outside the right knee, so both hands are outside the knee. Begin to turn, if you can, look over the right shoulder, maybe see the back edge of your mat, without letting the hips come along with you in that twist. So just turning from the waist up. Now we're getting into the IT band. Let's take one more breath here. All right, shift forward again. Now we're going to stay on the same side. You're going to shift forward, rebend the right knee, bring the foot down to the mat. Bring both hands onto that right knee or thigh, but lean forward a little bit. Maybe prop the right forearm on the right thigh. Now you're going to bend the left knee, reach back, take hold of that left foot with the left hand, and begin, if you can, to lift the spine and find a quad stretch, a kneeling quad stretch. Guiding that left heel in towards the glute, lifting up from the spine if you can. If your balance is off, you could have a little lean forward to keep the balance, but really ground through that right foot. Maybe that helps you find a little more stability and you can lift the spine. Keeping that left knee in, not letting the foot pop out to the side, heel towards the butt as we give that quad now a nice stretch. You're going to be working the quads quite a bit in this class. One more breath. Slowly let go of the left foot. Bring both hands down. Come onto all fours, hands and knees. You're going to step the left foot in front of you. Keep the hands down. Begin to guide the hips back as you straighten the left leg. Maybe slide, wiggle, step the heel forward a little more to get the leg mostly straight. But again, being mindful not to hyperextend, lock out that knee. Soft bend. Fold over the leg, bow the forehead down towards that leg. Stretch out that hamstring, bigger stretch. Both hips stay facing the front of the mat though. Take one more breath here, breathing into that hamstring. And then lift the chest. Take kind of a little half turn, twist to your left. Step the right hand with the left outside the left leg. And if you can, begin to turn as deep as you can. So this is again, now getting into the IT band. I'm just going to keep the hands here. We're not going to take this too deep. One more breath. All right, turn forward. Shift forward till the left foot comes to the mat. Bring yourself up part way. Prop left forearm and left thigh. Bend the right knee. Reach back. Take hold of that right foot with the right hand. Begin to guide the heel in towards the glute. Ground more through the left foot. See if you can begin to lift the chest up a little more. Two more breaths here. Giving that right quad a nice, easy opening stretch, getting it ready for the work ahead. One more breath, let go of the foot. Come back onto all fours, hands and knees. Now from here, just moving in through a few rounds of cat-cow, keeping the knees on the mat, tops of feet pressing into the mat as we articulate the spine, round the spine, tuck the chin, and then exhale, open the chest forward, broaden across the collarbones to warm up the spine. We need to get all the body working, not just the legs here. Take 2 more of these. Slow and controlled. Easy. One more time round. And then one more time open. All right, from here, let's start on the left foot. Step the left foot out to the side. So it's right in line with the hip. Foot is grounded really firmly, especially the outer edge. And just that grounding is going to right away start to engage all those leg muscles. Turn back forward. And just for 2 or 3 rounds, you're going to rock the hips back and forth, sinking the buttocks back towards that right heel. You could tuck the right toes if that gives you, again, a little more support, stability. Now I'm kind of waking up, opening up the front of the hips here, the hip flexors. One more breath. All right, now the next time you sink back, you're going to stay there, maybe sink a little deeper. Walk the hands out a little further, tent onto the fingertips. Gaze between the hands, you get a nice opening in the chest, and then you're going to start to drop down, bow the crown of the head down, forehead down towards the ground. To keep the entire time. Grounding through that left foot and activating, engaging all the muscles of that left leg. One more breath, slowly lift the chest, walk the hands back into the right under the shoulders, step the left foot back into tabletop, and then take the right foot out to the side. Ground the foot so again, kind of take a look at it. Make sure right in line with the hip, not further back, not further forward. Ground through the foot. And again, the first few moments in this position, we're just rocking back and forth, opening up space in that right hip flexor, psoas muscle. Also beginning by grounding firmly through that right foot to activate that whole right leg. All right, rock the hips back, maybe tuck the left toes, walk the hands forward, gaze forward, and then bow down. Bow down. Feel though that right leg still working, still activating, front and back, upper and lower leg, outer hip as well. And then on your next inhale, lift the heart, step the hands back in, come back onto all fours, hands and knees. You're going to take the left leg long to the back of the mat this time. So before we go deeper, really focus on pushing into the ball of that left foot, stretching the heel back. So we start now to stretch out the lower leg, the calf muscle, the Achilles tendon. And then you're going to take the right arm long by the ear. You're going to float the left toes up, pause here a moment, and lengthen into what we call tiger pose. And then we're going to find bird dog crunches. So you're going to bend the right elbow and left knee and curl back in for cat pose, elbow and knee tap. And then as you reach the arm and leg long, you're going to open the chest back to cow and keep going here. So starting to warm up the core a bit as well. Again, we got to get the whole body engaged, the whole body warm. Find 2 more here. Round in and tap. Extend long and open up. And then 1 more. Round. Open. Now stay here. You're slowly going to lower the hand and foot at the same time to tap the mat. And then lift them back up like a lever. Slow. Tap like the right pinky finger and left big toe to the mat. And then lift it back up. Let's do that just 2 more times. Just creating a little length, a little mobility. Tap. Come back up. And then return to all fours, hands and knees to tabletop. Take the right leg long back of the mat. Before we go any deeper, press firmly into the ball of the foot. Stretch the heel back. Feel the calf muscle, Achilles tendon start to really engage. And then sweep the left arm long by the ear. Float the right toes up. Keep them flexed. Keep them pointing down into tiger as we lengthen a little more. And then begin to round into those bird dog crunches. Left elbow to right knee. And then arm and leg reach long, chest opens forward. Keep going here. As you round in, pull the belly up towards the spine. Get the core a little warmer. Let's find 2 more. In and exhale, open, and then 1 more. Round. Extend. Keep it lifted. And again, try to lower it slowly. Tap left pinky finger, right big toe, and then lift the arm and leg back up. Levering that arm and leg up and down. Just 1 more, rise and lower, and then return to all fours, hands and knees. All right, from here, you're going to drop down onto elbows, forms. Come a little lower onto the mat. Keep the palms separate. Keep grounding into the palms and forms. Keep gazing forward. You're going to lift that right leg up. Keep the knee bent, foot flexed, and then you're going to straighten the leg and rebend the knee. and keep going here. Little donkey kicks, but keep them small, keep them slow. Would you curl in, bend the knee, like you want to try to tap yourself in the butt with your heel. Starting to warm up the back of the leg a little more, the hamstring and also the glute here. One more time. All right, curl in, keep the knee bent, and pulse. Little taps. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the right knee back down to the mat. Take the left leg up as you keep the knee bent and the foot flexed. And then you straighten and rebend and out and in. A few more times. Keep gazing forward past the top of your mat here. 2 more times. Last one. Now again, this time we keep the knee bent and little pulses, little tiny taps. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the left knee down, come back onto the hands, all fours. Press down through the palms. Step the feet back, tuck the toes, lift up into high plank. And then lift the hips up as we find downward facing dog. So take a couple moments here in down dog. We're not going to be doing a lot of downward dogs in this particular class. But when we're in, try to pay attention, engaging the legs. And you do that by kind of gently pressing the thighs back without locking the knees. So there's a little subtlety involved there. So you want to press the thighs back to engage them. But that kind of action, that action tends to make us lock out our knees. So you really have to pay attention there. Let the spine drape down. Hips reach up towards the skies. The chest drops down towards the earth. One more breath. All right, from here, we're going to take the feet out a little bit wider than hips distance. You're going to float the right foot up to hover. So it's like a really low 3-leg dog. You want to flex that right foot super deep. And then you're slowly going to lower the leg and let the sole of the foot hover. And that's going to start to get into the glutes. And from there, the hamstrings a bit. Again, 2 more times. Float that right leg up. You can go a little higher. And then lower it down to let the sole of the foot hover. That's where the work really happens. One more time. We elevate the leg. Slowly lower, let the sole of the foot hover, another breath, and then drop the foot down. Stay in this slightly wider downward facing dog as we get ready for side 2. Keep the chest facing down so you're not twisting. And you're just going to float that left leg up. Don't go very high. Foot super flex and then lower it slowly. And the act of lowering that leg is the flexing the foot. Again, lift it up. That is going to also engage all the leg muscles. The knee, front and back of the knee, the quad, the hamstring, the shin. One more time, lower, let it hover, drop it down, step the feet back into about hips distance. We are here for 2 more breaths in downward dog. Again, just that subtle motion of trying to pull the thighs back, but keep the knees from locking out as you do that. One more breath here. All right, bend the knees, look to the top of your mat, and then you're going to walk all the way forward. Press the palms to the shins. Gaze forward, flat back. And then exhale. Let's come briefly into a standing forward fold. So we did this already from a seat. But here, standing. Maybe hamstrings a little more open. Keep the knees bent. We're not going to be doing a lot of these forward folds in this class either. But anytime we do, feel free to have yoga blocks under your hands. One more breath. All right, bring the hands to the hips. Ground through the feet. Feel the legs activate. Feel how strong the legs are already. As you slowly come up to stand. Stand tall, top of the mountain pose. All right, I'm going to turn to face the side of the mat. So it's a better camera angle so you can see if you have questions, if you're not sure what we're doing here. We're going to come into a series of squats, different squats, which are really super good for strengthening the quads and as well as the knees, and also to get the glutes a little engaged here. So for this first one, keep the feet about hips distance, and you're going to bend the knees not into your deepest squat. So it's, it's like half squat here. So you can keep the hands at the hips, or you can bring them to the chest in a prayer position. Keep lifting the spine though. We're going to stay on the same leg. We're going to tap the left toes out to the side, and then you're going to step it back in. Tap out and in. So the right side stays really steady, and you're just tapping out. As you tap out, You come onto the ball of the foot. You don't have to ground the foot. You could, but we're going back and forth to maybe a little more efficient time-wise. Just stay on the ball of the foot. Two more on the side. Strengthening the legs, getting a little mobility, a little flow. As you come back to center, briefly straighten the legs and give them a little shake. So we'll take breaks in between all these squats, because if we did that without a break, your quads would be very sore and you wouldn't be able to do too much more of the class. All right, feet hips distance for this round. Come into, like again, that little half squat, not as deep as we're going to go in maybe some of the next poses. So again, hands at heart, hands at hips, you choose, and come to the right side now. Just stepping the foot out, right out in line from the hips. You don't want to bring it out behind you or out in front of you, just right out to the side, just a little toe tap. So it's sort of almost like a half jumping jack motion here, half jack, grounded jack. Just come onto the ball of the foot, straighten the leg. Two more. Last one. All right, come back in and again, briefly straighten the legs. All right, now you can either keep the feet hips distance or you can bring the feet in a little closer. You choose. And now we're going to come into a deep squat. Bring the hands to the heart, open the chest, squeeze the glutes, and then straighten the legs. And again, we're going to squat down slow and lift up. You're going to go back and forth as well. Several rounds. So good pose. Again, really strengthen those quads, really strengthen the knees, squeeze the glutes. Every time you come down, give them a little bonus strengthening too. You can keep the hands at the hips. It doesn't really matter where you have the hands. It's just for me, they kind of just keep them out of the way here at the chest. Let's get two more. Bend down, maybe a little deeper, squeeze. And then last time, sit down and up. And again, give the legs a little shake, little break. All right, that was two different types of squats. We have two more variations we're going to do for now, and then come do some other things, and then we'll come back to some squats more towards the end of this class. These are curtsy lunges. So what you do here is you cross one foot behind the other and you bend the knees like you're curtsying. All right, let's again, hands at heart or hands at hips, whatever suits you. You're going to step the left foot behind the right. So you're on the ball of that left foot, the left heel is lifted, and you're bending both knees into a deep curtsy. And then as you straighten, you come stand tall again on both legs. All right, stand again on the same foot. Step the left foot behind you, cross it behind the right, come on the ball of the foot, bend the knees, and then straighten. And three more. Curtsy and straighten. Step the left foot behind you, bend the knees, lift up, and then one more time. One more, maybe bend a little deeper, and then come back, and again, take a brief break, shake the legs out, and then side two with the curtsy lunges. Step the right foot behind you, come onto the ball of the foot, keep the heel lifted, bend both knees, and then straighten the feet are parallel. Keep going. Step the foot behind you, get into that deep curtsy, and then here. So we get the inner thighs working here and outer hips a little bit too. And we have just two more, and then one more. Step the foot behind, bend the knees, and curtsy. And then come back up, and again, shake the legs out. All right, one more squat variation for now. This time, step the feet in close. If you can, have the mounds of the big toes touch, maybe inner ankles, definitely inner knees. And you're going to squat down and you're going to hold this. You're going to hold this squat. Open the chest, don't round the spine. And we're going to pulse this. Little pulses. Maybe as you pulse, you can drop a little deeper into the squat. If not, stay up a little higher. Keep pulsing. Squeeze the glutes. Staying here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo. All right. That one, that's a tough one. Holding that there that long, getting a little deeper into the squat. All right, from here, we're going to test out all that leg strength by doing a fairly simple balancing pose, which is tree pose. So if you have good balance, you can remain on your mat. But if you're like me and your balance some days is a little wobbly, you'd be better off going to a wall. And you could use the wall in a variety of ways. You could have your back against the wall. You could turn to the side and just put, say, the elbow against the wall. Sometimes you don't need much support. Let's begin by standing on the left foot. So before we come into tree, Look down at the left foot. Kind of see if you can lift the toes up, spread the toes, and then lower them down and really feel grounding through the foot. All right. Inner and outer edges, front and back, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the inner and outer arch. Feel this leg really supporting you, the foot really supporting you. And then bring the right knee up to the chest. All right, so here's where you could use the wall, like just my sit ball, my butt's against the wall right now, not my back. Hug the right knee in and feel that left leg. Even though you're using the wall to help you stand up, that left leg is working really hard here, all the muscles engaging, because you're about to put all your weight on that left leg. Open the right leg to the side, right knee to the side. Maybe place the sole of the foot against the inner thigh. You can drop it lower against the inner shin. You could go lower still. Come onto the ball of the foot and press the heel against the ankle for the kickstand variation. Maybe hands to heart, yet again, tall spine. You could also stretch the arms up by the ears, gaze out in front of you. And again, really feel that left leg, the one you're balancing on, really supporting you, really strong, real tall. One more breath, release the hands back to the chest, lift the right knee up to the chest and then lower it to the ground. And again, kind of give both legs a little shake and give them those little shakeouts after they've worked so hard. All right, take the other side. So starting this again slow, look down at the right foot, lift the toes up off the mat, just kind of on their own so you can spread them a little, create a little space in between. Try to keep all that space and then lower them down, reground the foot. Now you're going to bring the left knee up to the chest, stand up tall. Already, before we go deeper, feel how much that right leg is working to support you. And then begin to open that left knee off to the side into tree. Place the foot, sole of the left foot, anywhere that feels comfortable for your hips. If it's too much to have it this high, you're welcome to go lower. Hands to the heart, maybe arms to the sky. Nice tall spine, gaze out in front of you. Keep grounding through that right foot and activating that whole right leg. It's working really hard right now. Even if you're using the wall for balance, it doesn't matter. One more breath. Take the left leg up to the chest, lower it down, and give both legs a little shake. All right. If you are not at a wall, go to a wall, or you don't really need a wall. We're going to do some calf raises. So you want to have something nearby you can balance on, maybe fingers on the wall. You could also just use a table, a chair, something of that nature for balance. Here's where you could use a block, but you don't have to. But if you have one and you want to use it, it's just going to amplify the pose a little bit. You can absolutely do it still keeping the feet flat on the mat. But if you're using the block, have it the flat setting. And you're going to stand on the block if you're using it so that the balls of the feet are on the block and the heels are off the block. Spine is tall. Again, maybe use something for balance. And all you're going to do is lift up a little higher on the balls of the feet. Really give those calves a stretch and then begin to lower the heels down. So you could, again, do this on the mat. You don't have to stand on the block. It just gives you a little more height and maybe perhaps a little more intense stretch, but it's not necessary here. We're going to do 3 more of these calf raises, stretching the calves, Achilles tendons. 1 more. And then lower down. If you're on a block, step off of it. Place it to the side. So we're going to go back to a squat now, but it's going to be a little different than the ones we did a few minutes ago. This is called a sumo squat. All right, and it's a wide leg squat, and we're actually going to walk forward and back with this squat. So we're up a little higher. So you're going to take the feet wide, as wide as your mat, and you're going to turn the toes out. And before we even walk, you're going to bend the knees. Hands to the hips, or once again, hands come to the chest. Keep the spine tall. Keep the knees turned out right over the ankles. And then you're slowly, like the legs weigh 300 pounds each, you're going to start walking forward, kind of lumbering forward, or like an elephant. But this is like a sumo squat walk. And so it's a wider position in the squat. You're still working the quads and the knees and the glutes. But again, it's really slow, really slow. You pick up each foot as though you've got a big chain around it that just weighs a whole lot. And this is really good for strengthening the legs as you walk to the back of your mat in the sumo squat walk. All right, let's get a couple more. Moving forward, slow, like real slow motion, really slow it down. And again, each time you pick up that foot, imagine you've got this big chain, this big weight around the ankle, weighing it down. So it makes it really challenging to lift the foot up. And you could replicate that to a degree if you wanted to really build up that leg strength by using ankle weights, those ones that kind of wrap around you. Nothing too heavy, 3-5 pounds. Let's do one more time. Walk forward. Try to keep that angle, that sumo position here. And then once you reach the top of your mat, straighten the legs. And again, give them a little shake out. Those quads are working really hard today. Glutes are working really hard. Next pose is what we call running man or running person, if we're being gender neutral. And a block could be helpful. 2 blocks if you have trouble straining to reach the mat. So we're going to come down and do a forward fold to start with. You're going to bend the right knee and step the left foot back. So it's like a shorter runner's lunge position, sprinter's lunge. Keep looking forward. That's really important here. And you're going to step that left foot in and back like you're running. So you want to make this pretty fast. You tap the foot in, follow the foot, and then immediately step it back. So this is building up strength and mobility and flexibility in that leg, like you're running. Hands again, either on the mat or on a block. Keep going. A few more. Let's finish here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step the foot in and briefly, straighten the legs and fold over the legs. Keep the knees a little bent. Maybe sway the hips side to side. That one also, if you're doing it really fast, kind of gets the heart racing. Kind of have to breathe a little more deeply, a little more mindfully, because it's a tiny bit of cardio, not a lot, but a little. All right, let's get into side 2. So bend the left knee, step the right foot back, be on the ball foot. So again, it is a shorter distance between the feet than when we normally do a runner's lunge position. Gaze forward, and you're going to step that right foot in and out, in and out. Come onto the ball of foot. So you keep the heel lifted the entire while, and you keep the chest facing forward, gazing forward the whole while. Go a little faster if you can. Really working that leg, that whole right leg. Finishing again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once again, step the right foot in to meet the left. And fold over the legs briefly. You sway the hips side to side. And then from here, you're going to step back to high plank and take the hips up to downward dog again. Haven't been here for a bit. So take a couple breaths here. And again, just maybe being a little more aware of the legs. Maybe, again, that gentle press back of the thighs. But at the same time, be careful not to hyperextend, lock out the knees. One more breath. All right, from here, let's take the right leg to 3-leg dog. So you can lift it a little higher than we did when we were here earlier because the feet are in closer, you have more space. And then you're going to step forward with that right foot. And you're going to bring yourself up to a high lunge position. Here in this high lunge, bring the hands to the hips. Keep the spine tall, gaze forward. Now, 3 times, we're going to start to bend the left knee as well. You may not be able to go too deep. If you can, try to get really low down so the knee's hovering. And then keep the right knee bent but straight in the left leg. Lift the spine back up to that high lunge. And then do that 2 more times. Bend that left knee just as deep. I can't bend this one too deep. And then straighten back to high lunge. And 1 more time. This is excellent for strengthening the legs. Bend, let it hover. Come back to high lunge. Now, take the arms up to the sky by the ears. And then from here, you're going to open up into warrior 2. Maybe wiggle that left foot back a little. Maybe take a slightly wider stance. Turn the left toes in slightly. Right knee should be tracking right over the ankle. Spine is tall. Arms extend out from the shoulders. And the gaze is out over the right fingers. Warrior 2. So here, holding here, a few more breaths. typically in these bent knee positions, that high lunge we just did in this warrior two, the front leg, the bent knee, is taking the brunt of this. And we already did a lot on the quad, so you may feel the quad shaking a little bit because it's tired and it's sore and it's been used a lot. To help alleviate that, take some of the burden pressure off that, ground more through the left foot, especially the outer edge. And that again, like we did earlier, we were on all fours, hands and knees, and we did that. Same principle. It kind of wakes up and engages all those muscles, quad, hamstring, shin, calf. So the left leg is working as hard as the right. Take the right palm to the sky, and then you're going to sweep it up and back and find reverse warrior pose. Side bend. Stay in the side bend. Just begin briefly to straighten the right knee, but again, not locking it. Straight leg, side bend, reverse triangle pose here. One more breath, rebend the knee, come back into warrior two. And then from here, you're going to circle the hands, bring them back down to the mat, step to plank, and then lift the hips back up to downward facing dog. Let's try that on side two. So take the left leg to the sky into three-leg dog, and then you step it forward and you come up into high lunge pose. Start here. You don't have to, but I find here it helps me balance a little more. It's kind of a weird thing, but keeping the hands at the hips helps me lengthen through the spine more and keep a little more stable. And then you start to bend the right knee. Let it hover or just go a little bit in and then straighten, but you keep the left knee bent in that high lunge position the whole time. Round two, bend that right knee. Be slow here and then straighten back up. And then one more. So you may only bend. I mean, I'm only bending my knee just like a couple inches. Some of you, I'm sure, can get all the way. You can tap the knee to the ground and let it hover. Straighten back up. Find that high lunge. Hold your breath, arms to the sky. And then from here, you're going to open up to the side into warrior two. And we'll be here a few breaths. So again, focusing, taking the focus, taking some of the weight out of that left thigh, which is already tired because we've already done a bunch of squats and things that have exhausted the muscle. So make that right leg work as well. Just experience, if you ground more through the foot, see if that just kind of, you can almost bring your right hand to the right thigh and feel how grounding through the foot just makes that quad, that thigh stronger. Take the left palm to the sky and sweep it up and back as we come into the side bend for a breath or two, reverse warrior pose. And then stay there, upper body, just straighten the left knee slightly, still keeping that bend, into reverse triangle, giving that quad a break. Come back into warrior two, rebend the left knee, arms to a T, and then from here, hands down to the mat, step to plank. From here, you're going to drop onto the knees and come lay on your back. For some core work, which is also going to add in a little leg strengthening for us as well. So you're going to bring both legs up to the sky. Knees can be bent. You're going to lift the head and shoulders, and you're going to hold on. Let's start holding on lightly, say behind the right calf. Knee can be bent. If it's too hard, you can't reach the calf, you can hold on behind the thigh. Keep the head and shoulders lifted. You're going to lower the left leg down, and then you're just going to keep switching. So it's kind of a scissory legs position or variation, or we call these sometimes seal pulses. So you keep the head and shoulders lifted. If the neck gets sore and tired, you can bring one hand behind the head to support the neck, or you could lower the head and shoulders down briefly, take a breath, and then come back up. So try to make this fairly quick. Knees can be bent. Just switching legs really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, keep the left leg lifted. Bring the right hand, see if you can hold outside the foot. Left hand behind the head, elbow wide. And you're going to lift that right leg up and down, up and down. You don't have to lift the leg too high. All right, you can keep it more midline. Twisting over to the left for just 3 and 2 and 1. Come back onto the back leg all the way flat. Give yourself a brief break. Bend the knees, hug the knees in. And I'm going to come back for another round of that. So lift the legs up to the sky. This time, lower the right leg down as you hold on behind the left leg. Lift the head and shoulders. And again, this will be a shorter round. Just scissoring, seal pulsing these legs, switching, holding on, grabbing something as the legs switch side to side, back and forth. Finish up for 3, 2, 1. Keep the right leg up. Left hand holds the outer edge of foot or the ankle. Right hand behind head, elbow wide. Twist slightly to the right. And then you're going to lift that left leg up and down. You can flex the foot or point the toe, you choose. Just a couple more. For 3, 2, and 1. All right, once again, lower down. Climb back, hug the knees in. Rocking side to side, left and right. And then from here, cross one ankle over the other, roll yourself up. From here, we're going to step back to plank pose. And we're going to hold this plank 3 breaths. So be aware here, plank is a pose that works the whole body, upper, lower, mid body. For now, for the last 2 breaths here, press back a little more through the heels. And once again, feel how that kind of wakes up, engages all of the leg, front and back, upper and lower. And then take the hips back up, refine downward facing dog for a couple breaths. Breathing in through the nose. And then out again through the nose. All right, you're going to take the right leg to the sky. And then you're actually going to step it through to a full runner's lunge. So we kind of did this position a little bit ago with those running person, but it was a shorter runner's lunge. So here, leg it back a little longer, pressing again, ball of foot, lifting up through that whole leg. From here, you're going to bring yourself, you can bring both hands to the right knee or thigh, and you're going to lift all the way up to high lunge pose, arms to the sky, using leg strength and core strength to get you there. From here, you're going to shift the weight to the right leg, and as you do, you're going to bring the left knee up to the chest. You're going to briefly straighten the left leg out in front of you, flex the foot. Rebend the knee, bring the knee back to the chest, stretch it all the way back, and land back in your high lunge. One more part of this. You're going to bring the hands all the way to the mat, back to your runner's lunge. From here, the toes of that left foot are tucked. You're on the ball of the foot. You're going to change it and come on to the top of the foot, onto the toe point. And that's going to stretch out the top of the foot, the instep, and the ankle. I'd hold here. Maybe you take one arm long by the ear. If your balance is really good and you're really strong, you can take both arms by the ears. One more breath. Bring the hands down. Step back to plank. And take the hips up. Find downward facing dog. Take a breath there. That was a lot of leg strength. And I was kind of putting together a lot of the poses, a lot of the conditioning, strengthening we already did, kind of testing to see how the legs hold up to that. All right, let's take the left leg to the sky. And then exhale, step it through, start in that runner's lunge with the right toes tucked, right heel lift, right leg working hard here. One more breath, and then from here, coming up again into that high lunge, bring the hands to the thigh, lift the spine, and take the arms up to the sky. From here, shift the weight to the left leg and bring the right knee up to the chest, knee bent, spine tall. Briefly straighten the right leg in front of you, flex the foot. Rebend the knee, knee to chest. Step it back to high lunge. And then again, you're going to bring the hands back down to that runner's lunge position. All right, from here, last part of this, from ball of foot, you flip onto the top of the foot. Press it in. It might be a little painful because we rarely do this. We rarely stretch out that part of the foot. Maybe take one arm by the ear. Maybe both. It's hard. One more breath. Bring both hands down. Step to plank. Lift the hips up. Back to downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. Breathing in and out through the nose. Steady. One more breath. From here, put a little bend in the knees, look forward, and then walk to the top of the mat. Pop the hands to the hips, and you're going to come all the way up to stand. You can stay facing the front of your mat, I'm again just turning to the side so it's a better camera angle. So if you have, again, questions or confused about what we do next, you have a better visual here. You're going to bring the arms out to a T, and you're going to kick one foot to the opposite hand. We're just going to switch side to side. So know that the knees can be bent as you kick. If you can't touch the toes, then you tap the top of the foot or the ankle. Just a few more. Changing sides. Working on a little balance and coordination here, as well as that leg strength. For the last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Give the legs a little shake. And now, this is going to be toe tap, butt kick. And again, it's a little coordination. So first we start in front. You bend one knee, tap the heel with the opposite hand. So we get that first tapping forward. So the knee kind of angles slightly off to the side. Bending the knee, tapping the heel with the opposite hand. Now, you're going to do a similar thing, and I'll turn around so you can see, but you're going to bring the foot behind you and tap, once again, hand to opposite heel. Almost like you're trying to kick yourself in the butt, and that is similar to what we did earlier in the donkey kicks. Now, let's try to switch. Heel, heel, and then back and back. So you go front, front, back, back. Here's where the coordination comes in. If it's better, you'd rather just stay front and then go back. You could do that too. We're going to finish up 2 more full rounds. Tap, tap, back behind you. Last one, front, front, back, and back. All right, once again, give the legs a little shake, let the breath kind of slow down. A little bit of cardio. So you could also take that, what we just did, those toe taps, butt kicks, and instead of staying low impact, you could, if you wanted to make it a little more of a workout, quote unquote, you could take that into a little jog. All right, you could do a soft jog, increase the tempo a little bit. Excuse me. From here, come face the side of your mat if you hadn't already. You're going to walk the feet really wide into a really wide leg stance. You're going to bend the right knee. Start in a side lunge, and you're going to bring the hands all the way to the mat. You're going to turn angle slightly so the right knee is right over the ankle. And then you're going to walk the hands off the mat at a diagonal, kind of framing that right foot. Keep grounding through that left foot and give that left leg a really nice stretch. We're also getting into the inner thighs here and the outer hips. One more breath. All right, turn to center. Stay low and just change to keeping the toes turned out for this one. Bend the left knee. Kind of turn over the left leg. Walk the hands out. Frame the leg. And just staying in that side stretch. Staying in that side stretch. Take one more breath and then walk the hands back to center. Straighten both legs now. Turn the toes slightly in. Hands are right under the chest. Open the chest forward. And now we're going to come into a deep forward fold. Give the legs again a nice stretch, lengthening. Also adding in here, besides the quads and the hamstrings, the outer hips, the inner thighs, and the low back as well. Let the low back really decompress, lengthen, hang down here. Hands could be on blocks if you're struggling to reach the ground here. One more breath. All right, slowly lift the chest, kind of wiggle, step the feet in one at a time or both together until they're about hips distance. From here, keep a little bend in the knees, keep the hands on the mat or a block. You're going to come into a squat, gaze forward, and then you're going to straighten the legs and fold. And again, we'll do this first few rounds a little slower. Bend the knees into that squat, maybe the knees touch, gaze forward, and then straighten and fold over the legs. Now, as you keep going through these, you're going to make it a little springier. You're going to make it a little faster. You're going to squat and straighten and bend and fold and keep going here. So again, finding that mobility in the legs, in the joints. Get 2 or 3 more. Squatting and straightening. And then last one, I'd ask you to hold the squat. Gaze forward, and I ask you to pulse. Pulse it out. If the heels lift a little, it's okay. Keep gazing forward. Finish up the pulses here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back into that forward fold. Straighten the legs. Oh, my quads are really sore. They know they've had a lot of work in this class. One more breath. All right, slowly come back up. And speaking of squats, one more variation. One more. And then last standing pose. And then we come down to the mat to finish up this class. So once again, I'm going to stay facing the center of the mat for visual aid, but you can turn, face any direction. So this one's going to be a squat, kick side, a squat, kick back. So you're going to vary what you do. And you're going to stay on the same legs. Let's stay on the right leg to begin with. You're going to come into a little squat, maybe not as deep, maybe a little deeper, but not too deep. Again, we'll do this first couple rounds slow. Squat, lift. Now you're going to kick that right foot out to the side. Flex the foot. Don't lean over. Don't kick too far. Now as you squat down, lift up, you kick that foot straight back. Flex the foot, lead with the heel. All right, stay on the right leg. Squat, straighten, kick side. Come back into that squat, squeeze the glutes, and then you kick the foot back. Keep going, staying on the side, kicking side. So when you kick the foot out to the side, you keep the foot flexed. It's not lifting too high. Leading with the outer edge of the foot. And as you kick it back, again, you keep it pretty low, and you lead with the heel. Getting in to that outer hip a little bit. One more on the side, kick side, squat, kick back. Again, just a brief little break, little shakeout, finishing up the squats on side 2. So come back, feet, about hips distance. You don't want them too wide here. Squat to the center, lift, and then kick that left foot out to the side. Lead with the outer edge. And then back to the squat. This time as you lift, you kick backwards, leading with the heel. That gets into the glute and hamstring. All right, again, keep going. Find a little pattern. You can stay pretty slow with this. It doesn't have to go fast. You could actually hold the squat, squeeze the glutes, and then change the direction of that kick. Let's finish up. Just a few more rounds here. Last of these squats. Relief is coming for those quads here. And we're going to do just one more. Squat down, lift up. Little kick to the side. Last part, squat, lift, kick back. All right. Last time, give those legs a nice shake. Come back now to the top of your mat if you stepped away. You're going to reach the arms all the way up. Join the palms. Exhale. Fold down to the ground. Step back to plank. Drop the knees to the mat and come onto your right side. So you're going to come onto the right elbow form. We're going to stack the knees, bend the knees, stack them right out for the hips. Flex the feet and press the inner ankles together. The left hand kind of comes to the mat in front of the chest for a little more support. And you're going to start levering that left knee up and down into clamshells, which are a nice stretch for the whole lower body. The knees, inner and outer knees, inner thighs, outer hips, and the glutes. All right, you can continue here, hinging that top leg up and down. You can keep the right knee on the mat. You can go one more step and pop onto the right heel so the toes open out into a V and the right knee is lifted. And you could go one more step if you want by floating both heels off the mat. So you're kind of doing these clamshells in midair. 2 more. Last one. All right, lower down. We're going to stay on the right side, so we don't have to keep switching sides. Let's see. Straighten both legs on. Straighten both legs on now. So still stack the legs, but now they're straight. You're going to bring the left hand behind the head, elbow wide. You're going to float the left leg up, and you're going to bend the elbow to the knee. So pull the knee in, tap the elbow to the knee. Flex the foot as you straighten the leg out. Keep the foot hovering above the bottom leg. Get just about 3 more. Pulling in and out, tapping, elbow to knee. 1 more. All right, now last part, bring that left hand back to the mat. Keep that left leg long, keep the foot flexed. You're going to lift it up. You're going to tap the big toe in front of you, come back to center, then tap it behind you. So making kind of a rainbow arc shape here. without letting the hips move too much. So really ground down through that right forearm, ground down through that lower right leg. Just one more. Tap it forward to center, tap behind, come back to center. Last part. Flex the foot, pulse it out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it down, push yourself up, and come into side 2. So make your way onto your left side. So we start these 3 exercises, starting with the clamshells. Knees bent, inner knees stacked, feet flexed, inner ankles pressing against each other. And we just start again, that hinge. So as the top knee lifts, the heels touch, and the feet open into a V shape here. Hinging that knee up and down like a clamshell. Again, you can stay here. Keep the bottom knee grounded. Maybe you lift the heel so that left knee lifts, and you're really just pressing the left heel into the mat. It's the only part of the lower legs on the mat. Or you can go one more step and float them up in the air. Suspend your clamshell. One more. All right, lower the legs down. Let's start with the legs straight. So we're stacking the legs. And then you're going to lift that top leg up and tap it forward. Come back to center and tap it back. So making, again, that kind of rainbow shape. Try to keep the hips kind of out of it, though. So just really isolate this movement. Make it about the leg, not about that bottom hip swing. Side to side. 2 more. Tap forward, center, tap back. Last one, forward, and then back. And then keep it center. Flex the foot. Pulse it out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the leg down and come lay all the way onto your back to finish up just a couple, 2 or 3 more poses. So, time for a bridge pose if you want. And of course, it's a back bend, but it's also the whole lower body, the whole body, actually, even the upper body is involved participating in this bridge pose. You know, the chest opens and the shoulder blades, you know, press into the mat to help lift you up. But before we lift, again, just kind of think about when you come up, all the parts of the body that are involved in this bridge pose. The low back for sure, but the quads, the hamstrings, the outer hips, and the knees, and even the feet, because we're really grounding through the feet here, activating the feet. Press the palms and forearms into the mat. The arms also help here. Press the feet into the mat and then begin to lift the hips up. Get a block under the low back if you want support. If you want to hold this a bit longer, maybe roll the shoulder blades under you a little more. Kind of pop the chest, expand the opening in the chest. Keep the chin fairly neutral here, so we're not tucking the chin in towards the chest. But at the same time, not letting the head fall back and lifting the chin to the ceiling. Keep it kind of right in between those 2 spots. Ground through the feet. Keep the knees pointing forward. So don't let the knees start to open off to the side. Take one more breath here. And then slowly lower the hips down all the way. So here's where we're going to repeat the very first pose we did, that hamstring stretch. And we'll add in a little extra IT band stretch. We didn't do a lot for IT band. Hug the right knee back to the chest. And then as we did earlier, begin to straighten the leg. Take your time, though maybe it's a little easier. And maybe the legs, just kind of be aware. Maybe this feels really good for the stretch because the hamstrings got a lot of work, the quads got a lot of work. You could still stretch the quad out here as well. Keep the shoulder blades grounded. You just for another breath or 2, find that easy to and fro movement. And then begin to slide the left leg to straight. Keep the right leg lifted, but you're going to point the toes and you're going to release the arms by the sides of your mat. You're going to begin to cross that right leg over to the left just a little, maybe 25, 30%, no more, until you feel a stretch start to happen in the IT band. Outer hip down past the outer knee. One more breath. Come to center. Rebend the knees. Bring both feet to the mat. And then take the left knee in. Take your time. Begin to straighten it up. Back to that hamstring stretch. Should feel familiar since we did this first pose. rocking it gently to and fro, coaxing it open a bit at a time, being patient with the hamstrings. They're very tight, and if you run a lot, then you really have to work to counteract that because running kind of has little minuscule muscle tears in the body, and then it creates a bigger muscle as it repairs itself, and then it makes it stiffer and less flexible. So you really have to have that kind of almost constant, excuse me, give and take. All right, keep the leg lifted, point the toes, slide the right leg to straight. Ground the arms by the sides, and you're going to cross that left leg over to the right now. Take 25, 30 degrees. Keep the shoulder blades grounded. Don't twist yet. That comes next. Just getting another breath into that left IT band. And then come back to center. Hug both knees in. Once again, wrap the arms around the shins, rocking gently side to side. Bump the hips to the left. Let both knees fall over to the right in a twist. Ground the shoulder blades. And then start to gently turn the torso over to the left. Be careful as always of the neck here. If the neck feels tight today, maybe don't turn too deep and look over the left shoulder. Maybe instead gaze up towards the ceiling. Take a couple breaths here and unwind the spine. One more breath. All right, roll onto the back. Hug the knees back in. This time, bump the hips over towards the right. Knees fall to the left. Shoulder blades ground, and we start to turn left side of the ribs over to the right into this twist for about 3 breaths. Easy, slow, no effort. One more breath. All right, roll onto the back and give yourself again that little hug in. You can take happy baby pose if you like that. Maybe a full body stretch. Stretch both legs long, both arms long, whatever feels good right now. And that is going to wrap up this practice on building leg strength. So lots of ways to do that. The squats. I know we did a lot of squats. Quads maybe sore tomorrow if you're going to go for a run or a hike. So be gentle on them. Maybe not do any extreme up and down hills if your quads feel sore. That was a lot of squats. Usually we don't do that many in a class or a session. That was a little extreme, but just to kind of go through a lot of different varieties, a lot of different options that work for you, that you like. So hope you enjoyed, hope it's helpful. As always, reach out with any questions, and hope you can join me at another class real soon. Thank you.